Nothing in our lives is untouched by God. There is nothing He can't redeem. Melissa Ohden travels the world speaking that assurance in church and school groups, pro-life rallies. She could be engulfed in bitterness and a victim mentality after what was done to her. But you won't see any of that here.
The story of my life here in earthly terms was meant to be a very short one. You know, another child who lost their life to abortion. But God has taken that one little sentence and expanded it, you know, time and time again. And now the story of my life is so far from brief. You know, I've been given all of these beautiful storylines of my life that I now get the opportunity to share with people. But, you know, the brief version of that is that 36 years ago, my life was supposed to end from a saline infusion abortion. To have the gift of life and love and a family, and I knew that growing up. I have an older sister who's adopted, and then my parents adopted me. You know, when they saw me, that little girl lying in the incubator with the shaved head full of tubes and wires fighting for her life, my parents fell madly in love with me. And so that's what we knew growing up. You know, I found out about being a survivor when I was 14 through my own sister's unplanned pregnancy. You know, she was contemplating having an abortion, even though we were raised in a home to know that, you know, life was a gift from God and we were all created in God's image. But she had fears, like so many women do. And it was her unplanned pregnancy that triggered the truth coming into my life. And I struggled, you know, as much as it was such a blessing to hear that God obviously had saved my life for a mighty purpose. The flip side of that is so much pain. And I walked through that pain, and God brought me through that pain gratefully. And when I was 19, I started looking for my biological family because I wanted to know some of the answers, but more importantly, I wanted them to know that I was not angry. You know, I had something very horrific happen to me, but I'm not a victim. I am so blessed.
Good for you.
To be alive. And so I wanted them to know that, and I wanted to set them free. You know, I know far too many people who have been touched by an abortion who suffer in their lives. And so I didn't want my parents, my biological parents, to suffer throughout their lives. And it took me 10 years to find them.
You will want to hear the rest of Melissa's story at 100huntley.com. When I interviewed her at the end of June, she was 17 weeks pregnant with a brother for 6-year-old Olivia, who was born in the same hospital where Melissa was left for dead in 1977. God displaced the darkness of an abortion forced on a 19-year-old college student with joy and blessing for the daughter who survived. God is bigger than your drama, no matter what it looks like today. He's ready to give you a new story, the one He planned and wrote down before you were born. In Psalm 139, David celebrates this. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Could you use a fresh start? God has the plan. Romans 12:2 says His will for you is good, pleasing to Him and to you ultimately, and perfect. Why not ask Him to lead you into His best? You will be so glad that you did. We're here to help. Our prayer lines are always available.